Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to talk a little bit about the lectures, where they exist, and sort of what the format is for all of that. So let's go ahead and go into D2L so that I can show you around a little bit. So this is the student view of one of my 110 D2L shells for the summer. What you'll see when you come in here, if you go into the exam, any of the exams. So you'll see that there is a discussion for this one, which is a walkthrough of this particular lecture. The sig figs is an additional topic that is not required. So if you know everything you need to know about that, then don't feel obligated to watch it. In most of these, you'll see a web link that looks like a video type of deal. It's called lecture. And that's the actual lecture recording that I have. Now, all of these are from spring. I'm going to leave them that way because we're doing some new things this summer. So there's going to be some more grading that needs to happen, and I don't want to get behind. So I'm leaving them as the spring lectures that I did. They're the same PowerPoints that go with them. So I apologize if that's not what you're looking for, but that is the same material that I would have presented to you. So the PowerPoints are all present, and they are what I speak to in those lectures. Okay, so these are the things that I talk through when I talk in those lectures. Okay, so there are certain things that we'll be talking about. You'll see places for questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. Stop. Tell me what the time code is. Let me know what your question is. I'll do my best to answer it as soon as possible. So those are the lecture PowerPoints that we'll be dealing with. In addition to that, now again, since this is an online class, there are no fixed meeting times where we talk about anything, and there's no live lectures. But you can meet with me at any time if you choose to do so. You just need to send me an email, let me know that you want to meet with me, or pop into my WebEx for office hours, and that will be perfectly fine. And I will talk to you then. Not a big deal at all. So there are no fixed meeting times. These are for you to watch at any time. You can be as far ahead as you want or as far behind, although I wouldn't recommend that. In addition to the lecture material, you'll see that there's an in-class practice. Okay, so everything has an in-class practice. The reason for the in-class practice is that I typically end my lectures early. Okay, so I don't take the full time that is expected or should be taken up by those lectures. The reason that I do that is because I want you doing this practice. The practice matters, okay? And there are a couple of different levels of practice that I have provided with you with so that you can get used to these materials, okay? Your in-class practice is broken down a lot, okay, in terms of what it is and what, how it's labeled. So everything has a particular topic that's associated with it, and they're fairly simple 1 to 2 step questions. The practice, the next thing that you'll see, these are questions that I have written that I would expect you to be able to answer based on what we've talked about. Okay, and the practice comes with an answer key. Now notice they're separate. There's a reason for that. I believe that with your exam handouts, you should be able to come in and do this practice without any problems. Okay. If you run into something that is a question for you, then you should ask about it. Now, you may want to ask the answer key first, and I understand that. And that's why these answers are here. But if that still doesn't make sense to you, you need to let me know. I will make you one caveat to this. It is a really bad idea to use this set with the answers on it as a way to judge whether or not you know how to do something. Because watching somebody else do it, it may make sense to you and you may think, oh, I know how to do that. But then when you get to a question, you may not know how to approach it. And so you need to have practice in approaching these questions on your own before you get to the test. Okay. So I definitely recommend that you do this without the answer key and then use the answer key as a check to see if you did everything right. Okay, so those are those two things. Now, one other thing you'll see in this particular set is there is a secondary text that is listed here. The Chemistry Libre text is a free text. that is available. I actually really like this text. I think there's a lot of good information that's in it. It's not as technical as your textbook. So you may want to refer to this if you're not understanding things that you need to be understanding. Okay. There are links for all of this stuff. So if you want to go to what is chemistry, you can click on the link, it'll take you right there. It takes a minute because it's actually taking you outside, but so this is how this helps. And if you want to just keep going through it, you absolutely can. Okay, so that's how that particular thing works. That is another resource that is available to you, not required, absolutely not. So that gives you your in-class practice, stuff that I expect you to be able to do as we do the lecture or when the lecture is finished. Then the practice that I wrote, which pulls together more ideas at one time, is slightly more complicated. So you may need to do the in-class practice first. And then once you've done that, I want you doing the ALEKS homework. Okay. That's my goal, because I believe that will step you through everything that you need to know to be able to do this. Now, if you can go to the ALEKS directly and make, and work those problems without any problems, so be it. Go ahead. Not a big deal. There's none of this is graded, so none of it is required, but it is all available to you to help you prepare. Okay. So that takes us through the lectures. Again, each one of these has a lecture. If you open this, it takes you to YouTube to an actual lecture that I've recorded. These tend to be an hour or so, maybe up to 2 hours. It depends. It depends on what we're talking about. And then the practice that's available. Okay. So I hope that helps with some of the lecture questions. We'll talk about some lab stuff and the lab lectures and the discussions as well. So we'll come back for those, and I'll be back soon. Thanks, guys.